I have completely transformed my life over the last several years in multiple different areas. And I'm going to explain to you in this video 5 different ways in which I did this, because on the surface, I seemed very successful. I had a career. I'd worked very hard to get to where I was. People used to say glowing things about me and where I was in life, but yet inside, I didn't feel like I was where I wanted to be. I knew that I needed to be doing different things. I knew that I needed a transformation, and I set about working on that. And I set about working on my inner self as much as anything else. I needed to change my mindset, and this wasn't easy by any stretch of the imagination. But on the surface, everything seemed so good. I was a doctor. I'd moved internationally from the UK to the US. I had a successful career. I was doing other creative things. And everybody used to say, well, you have done so well. But inside, I didn't feel like I was where I wanted to be. I wanted to do different things. I knew that I wasn't quite hitting peak performance in many different areas of my life. I had all of these different ideas. And I have transformed myself over the last few years in multiple realms, from relationships to work to the fact that I was a doctor. Now I'm involved in various different entrepreneurial ventures. And this was a massive mindset shift. And I want to really talk about 5 different areas that I worked on. And if you're a high-performing man who also feels like you've ticked a lot of boxes in life, but yet you don't feel like you're where you want to be, you feel stuck with repeat patterns that keep happening to you over and over again, your energy levels are not where you want them to be, you know that you could be doing so much more, then please do like this video if it helps you, subscribe to this channel, and also make sure that you sign up for my free Magnetic Edge newsletter for men who want to take things to the next level. Link down below in the description. Okay, number 1, I worked on my frame. Now, many people have said for many years that I appear calm. So yes, I would class myself as quite a calm person, but of course, like anyone else, I used to have my moments. And I really thought a lot about the frame that I was bringing to the world. Was it an entirely calm, solid frame? Or did I frequently show that I was experiencing tension, that I was stressed? Did I at times look a little bit flustered? And that is not where you want to be as a high-performing man. You never want to show people that you're stressed or anxious. You really want to maintain a solid frame at all times with whatever you're doing. Of course, at different times, you're human. You will feel some tension inside. You might feel a bit nervous inside. But you should not bring that to the world. You want to, in all of your interactions, maintain your frame. And I worked diligently on making sure that I was portraying a solid frame to the world. I wanted to be that person who people interacted with and thought, this person doesn't seem at all unsure. They are confident, they are calm. And I truly believe that any man, especially any high-achieving man, has it in him to work on this, maintaining that strong frame no matter what. The great Thomas Jefferson once said something along the lines of, there's no better quality than the ability to maintain your calmness under all circumstances, no matter what storms are brewing around you. If you can be that guy, that is a great thing, and it's going to take you to great heights. Okay. Number 2, I became someone who wanted to avoid tension, to somebody who actively could step into tension. And yes, again, coming back to maintaining that frame, I worked very hard on this. I would before have times where I knew I was going to step into a tense situation, an uncomfortable conversation, something that would make me nervous. And as opposed to before, when I would be trying to avoid that tension or think of ways around it, or when I did show up, I showed up, and I'm certain that I portrayed that tension, that nervousness to whoever I was interacting with. I became someone who didn't want to avoid tension at all. I learned to keep that sense of inner calmness, to step into situations which I knew before would be perceived by myself as being uncomfortable, but I was okay with stepping into that tension and maintaining my strong frame. This again is something I believe anybody could work on. So I'll give you an example. So say at work, you are somebody who would avoid speaking to your boss about a pay rise. And of course, you're human. It's not a comfortable conversation to have. But rather than be in that conversation and step into that tension, and you'll know when you're doing this, you step into that tension. And if you can have that self-awareness that you're somebody who, when you feel uncomfortable, you kind of draw back or you visibly show that you are tense to the world. If you can be that person who's totally okay, take a few deep breaths. Okay, this is a tense, uncomfortable conversation, but I'm totally okay. I'm calm. I will continue to speak slow. I will maintain eye contact. I'll wait for you to speak. I won't overspeak. Remember, overspeaking is a sign of tension. If you can adapt to those situations, and yes, you will still feel that uneasy sense in you because yes, you're doing something which is uncomfortable, but remember that all your growth in life, all your personal growth as a man happens when you're outside of your comfort zone. So that is another big area where I transformed myself. I was okay with stepping into tension and I would keep my frame. Number 3, I stopped worrying so much about what other people would think about what I said. Now, don't take this to the extreme. The goal is not to become insensitive or indifferent or go around hurting people. But as a man, you will have principles and you'll have things you want to say. And the reality of life is that a lot of times people will not like what you have to say. That is true in real life. It's true nowadays online as well. And you have to be okay with offending people. You can do so perfectly politely and cordially, but you need to make clear to the world what your viewpoint is, what you want, what your goals are. What is it that you want? And if that makes people feel a bit uncomfortable, well, so be it. You can't worry so much about people's feelings that you aren't saying what you want to say. And when I overcame that hesitation, and I can't stress enough, this doesn't mean being impolite or rude or deliberately hurting people, but you will have your viewpoints and you will tell the world what those viewpoints are and accept that some people are not going to agree. Some people might be outraged, but you're okay with that because you're a man standing firm on your principles. Number 4, I learned to develop a more fearless mindset. I was not going to be that guy who was stuck in a rut, going through the motions. I learned to fearlessly go for what it is I want. So let's take an example. I went from being a doctor, someone who had a very set career path, to knowing I wanted to do something creative, entrepreneurial, and I fearlessly set about trying different ventures in the entrepreneurial realm. And anybody who has an entrepreneurial mindset or who has succeeded in business will tell you this. The first few ventures will not succeed, but you don't give up. You don't stop trying. You keep thinking, and okay, this doesn't mean again being reckless and recklessly trying things without a plan, but you have a plan in place. You learn new things, but you fiercely go for what you want. And I knew that I was never going to be happy with only doing what I was doing. I wanted to be creative. I wanted to try new things. I really enjoyed the world of entrepreneurship and business. I got to meet a lot of very interesting people who would think very differently from the people around me in my regular professional job, and I would grow as a person. But I became quite fearless about wanting to try new things, having belief in myself that I would succeed, and it wasn't enough to just keep doing what I was doing. And number 5, I stepped into my core masculinity more. You see, the problem with toxic modern mainstream culture is that it takes many men far away from their core masculinity. And I hate the way that we've come up with the term toxic masculinity. Masculinity is seen as a bad thing, when actually real masculinity is beautiful. And it's also in perfect yin and yang with the feminine. But masculinity at its core means many of the things I just talked about: being fearless, being okay with having principles, stepping into tension. But it also means other things, like having a competitive edge. Are you competing in your life? Now, this doesn't mean necessarily competing with someone else, but it could mean competing with who you were a week ago. And you could get this outlet in a sport, learning a new skill, for example. But there are many things that you probably could be doing right now if you have that same feeling that you're a high-performing man, but you're stuck. To step into your masculinity again. Something as simple as a new hobby. But what are you doing that gives you that sense of achievement, of challenge? And of course, if work does that, then even better if you're getting that from your work. But there are many different outlets for your masculinity and being competitive, many that you have not thought of. But masculinity is a core part of truly being fulfilled as a man. We are built to be empire builders. We are built to always be seeking out new challenges, exploring new things. It's not good enough to be stuck. And I believe that successful men feel this even more. Those are 5 ways then that I completely transformed my life. And I believe that you can as well. If you're a high-performing man who's stuck in a rut, who knows that you need to put your health first, you need to develop a more fearless mindset, you need to gain unshakable, unstoppable purpose in your life. And if that means trying new things, seeking out new ventures, then so be it. But life is short, and a courageous life with a fearless mindset is the best lived life. I hope this video was helpful to you wherever you are on your journey. Keep going. Believe in yourself, man. Once more, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, just hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you like this video, and also be sure to sign up for my Magnetic Edge newsletter for high-performing men who want to take things to the next level. We'll speak again in the next video.